Our last declaimer this evening brings us a lesser-known story by beloved children's author Roald Dahl. Entitled The Great Automatic Grammatizator, it follows inventor Adolf Kneip and businessman John Bolin, who create and market a machine that, if you push the right buttons and pull the right levers, is able to write stories. I think we can all agree this 1953 premise is completely absurd, and such an invention would keep English teachers up all night if it were true. Declaiming Dahl's inventive work this evening is sophomore Jasper Rogers.
Knight pulled the switch. The great engine hummed. There was a deep whirring sound from the oiled movement of 50,000 cogs and rods and levers. Then came the drumming of the rapid electrical typewriter, setting up a shrill, almost intolerable clatter. Out into the basket flew the typewritten pages, one every 2 seconds. But what with the noise and the excitement and having to play upon the stops and watch the chapter counter and the pace indicator and the passion gauge, Mr. Bolin began to panic. He reacted in precisely the way a learner driver does in a car, by pressing both feet hard down on the pedals and keeping them there until the thing stopped. "Congratulations on your first novel," Knipe said, picking up the great bundle of typed pages from the basket. Little pearls of sweat were oozing out all over Mr. Bolin's face. "It sure was hard work, my boy." "But you got it done, sir. You got it done." "Let me see it, Knipe. How does it read?" He began to go through the first chapter, passing each finished page to the younger man. "Good heavens, Knipe, what's this?" Mr. Bolin's thin, purple fish lip was moving slightly as it mouthed the words. His cheeks were beginning slowly to inflate. "Look at here, Knipe. This is outrageous." "I must say, it's a bit fruity, sir." "Fruity? It's perfectly revolting. I can't possibly put my name on this." "Quite right, sir. Quite right." "Knipe, is this some nasty trick you've been playing?" "Oh, no, sir, no." "It certainly looks like it." "Don't you think, Mr. Bolin, that you might have been pressing a little hard on the passion control pedals, do you?" "My dear boy, how should I know?" "Why don't you try another?" So, Mr. Bolin ran off a second novel, and this time it went according to plan. Within a week, the manuscript had been read and accepted by an enthusiastic publisher. Knipe followed with one in his own name, then made a dozen more for good measure. In no time at all, Adolf Knipe's literary agency became famous for its large stable of promising young novelists. And, once again, the money started rolling in. It was at this stage that young Knipe began to display a real talent for big business. "See here, Mr. Bolin," he said. "We still have too much competition. Why don't we just absorb all the other writers in the country?" Mr. Bolin, who now sported a bottle green velvet jacket and allowed his hair to cover 2/3 of his ears, was quite content with things the way that they were. "I don't know what you mean, my boy. You can't just absorb writers." "Of course you can, sir. Exactly like Rockefeller did with his oil companies. Simply buy them out, and if they won't sell, squeeze them out. It's easy." "Be careful now, Knipe. Be careful." "I've got a list here, sir, of 50 of the most successful writers in the country, and what I intend to do is to offer each one of them a lifetime contract with pay. All they have to do is undertake never to write another word, and, of course, to let us use their names on our own stuff. How about that?" "They'll never agree." "You don't know writers, Mr. Bolin. You watch and see." "But what about that creative urge, Knipe?" It's a bunk. All they're really interested in is the money, just like everybody else." In the end, Mr. Bolin reluctantly agreed to give it a try, and Knipe, with his list of writers in his pocket, went off in a large chauffeur-driven Cadillac to make his calls. He journeyed first to the man at the top of the list, a very great and wonderful writer, and he had no trouble getting into the house. He told a story and produced a suitcase full of sample novels and a contract for the man to sign which guaranteed him so much a year for life. The man listened politely, decided he was dealing with a lunatic, gave him a drink, then firmly showed him out the door. The second rider on the list, when he saw Knipe was serious, actually attacked him with a large metal paperweight, and the inventor had to flee down the garden path, being followed by such a torrent of abuse and obscenity as he had never heard before. But it took more than this to discourage Adolf Knipe. He was disappointed, but not dismayed, and off he went in his big car to seek his next client. This one was a female, famous and popular, whose fat romantic novels sold by the millions across the country. She received Knipe graciously, gave him tea, and listened attentively to his story. "It all sounds very fascinating," she said, "but of course, I find it a little hard to believe." "Madam," Knipe answered, "come with me and see it with your own eyes. My car awaits you." So, off they went, and, in due course, the astonished lady was ushered into the machine house where the wonder was kept. Eagerly, Knipe explained its workings, and, after a while, even permitted her to sit in the driver's seat and practice with the buttons. "All right," he said suddenly. "You want to do a book now?" "Oh, yes," she cried. "Please." She was very competent, and she seemed to know exactly what she wanted. She made her own list of pre-selections, then ran off a long, romantic, passion-filled novel. She read through the first chapter and became so enthusiastic that she signed up on the spot. "That's one of them out of the way," Knipe said to Mr. Bullen afterwards. "A pretty big one, too." "Nice work, my boy." "And do you want to know why she signed?" "Why?" "It wasn't the money. She's got plenty of that." "Then why?" Knipe grinned, lifting his lip and bearing a long pale upper gum. "Simply because she saw that the machine-made stuff was better than her own." Thereafter, Knipe wisely decided to concentrate only upon mediocrity. Anything better than that, and there are so few that it didn't matter much, was apparently not quite so easy to seduce. In the end, after several months of work, he had persuaded something like 70% of the writers on his list to sign the contract. He found that the older ones, those who were running out of ideas and had taken a drink, were the easiest to handle. The younger people were more troublesome. They were apt to become abusive, sometimes violent when he approached them, and more than once, Knipe was slightly injured on his rounds. But on the whole, it was a satisfactory beginning. This last year, the first full year of the machine's operation, it was estimated that at least 1/2 of all novels and stories published in the English language were produced by Adolf Knipe upon the great automatic grammatizator. Does this surprise you? I doubt it. And worse is yet to come. Today, as the secret spreads, many more are hurrying to tie up with Mr. Knipe. All the time, the screw turns tighter for those who hesitate to sign their names. This very moment, as I sit here listening to the howling of my 9 starving children, I can feel my own hand creeping closer and closer to that golden contract that lies over on the other side of the desk. Give us strength, O Lord, to let our children starve.